Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the iHeartRadio network, the number one network in the United States of America. And also Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America. Thank you so much for following Big C Sports, and of course across the pond in Paris, France, as well as London, England, and of course up in Canada, Big C. But on this beautiful Black History Month, February 23rd, 2017, there's no one I love more than them good old boys down south in the land of the free and the home of the brave. How's it going for you good old boys, Big C?
It's a beautiful day down there. You know, I was able to go outside, work on my tan, felt real good.
Yeah.
You know, my snakes running on a rock. You know, I mean, what else did you have? Had a little sip of some clear liquid, man. Everything was just cool.
Hey, Big C, if you keep working on that moonshine, you're not going to have a chance to be in the Donald Trump administration, so you might want to lighten up on that tan and cream, Big C, for you good old boys down south. Also, I want to say there's so much happening in the world of sports. Everybody's happy that basketball is back, going to be over here at Golden State versus the LA Clippers. Chris Paul should be back on the floor, Big C. Also, we have everybody's doing this trade-a-thon with the NFL quarterbacks. Michael Phelps is saying he's going to testify in his anti-doping thing, and same thing going on with Sammy Sosa when they get into the Hall of Fame. But one of the biggest stories, I think, is going to be Donald Trump. You know, POTUS playing golf with Roy McIlroy, Big C, and there's no flag. But I want to get your thoughts on some of these quarterbacks coming up. I want to say this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive it, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Big C, I know yours has no more mud on it, so you might be a little bit sad today, Big C. How you feeling, Big C?
Well, Dalton, she almost turned up into a car wash. She realized she made a wrong turn.
Yeah.
And she backed on out of there and went on back home like she was supposed to.
Oh, yeah.
It's just one of those days. Everybody has a little mental lapse from time to time, and I think the computer had a little mental lapse in the car.
Yeah. Hey, but they told us in that movie back in the day, I think it was 2001, A Space Odyssey, and the computer's name was Hal, and Hal had a mind of his own. As a good old Earthlings were thinking about getting computers to make our lives easier, these computers are plotting to take over, Big C, so don't trust that GPS system too much down south, Big C. So, but I want to ask you, as we get into the world of sports, what's going on with all this talk of trading quarterbacks to different teams? I mean, if they were any good, wouldn't they be signed and re-signed with the teams they're already on, Big C?
Well, Charlton, you know, it's always a fluctuation at the pivot position in the NFL. Everybody's calling themselves trying to upgrade, but you know, when you look at the upgrades, Charlton, in the NFL, you're upgrading from a losing quarterback.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing.
Yeah.
You're going to a team, taking a quarterback that wasn't in the Super Bowl, AFC or NFC championship game, wasn't even in the second round of the playoffs, and you're talking about it's an upgrade over what you had because you had a losing organization, Charlton.
Yeah.
I've often wondered how you bring in losing quarterbacks and they're going to make you better.
Yeah. That just doesn't make any sense. It's almost like you're being fired from being somebody's, boyfriend, and then her friend wants to date you. Well, why would she want to date used goods, Big C? And that's what's happening with the NFL. Your thoughts on that, Big C?
Well, I'm telling you, the number one talk around the NFL this offseason, ever since even before the Super Bowl, was Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
In New England, the backup quarterback. Like I said, the backup quarterback.
How many playoff games did he won, Big C?
It was probably how many games has he won.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You win 2 games as a backup quarterback with the best organization in the NFL. Okay? 2
Yeah.
games. That's not a career does it make, nor a season does it make.
Yeah.
And everyone is talking about how great his value is, Charlton. You got to think about what Tom Brady's been a starter for 16 years
Yeah,
in the NFL.
about 16 years.
16 years. How many backups has Tom Brady had, Charlton?
Yeah.
And can people walk around and honestly say which backup Tom Brady has had that's had great success in the NFL, Charlton?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Let me ask you this question, Big C. You've been doing this for so long. How many players back in the day, whether we go back 20 to 30 years, how many backup quarterbacks or how many quarterbacks that were benched went on to another team and actually took them to a Super Bowl? I know Jim Plunkett had the chance to do that with the Raiders, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, you think about Jim Plunkett, you think about Steve Young, Charlton Williams, that has happened with him. You know, there's been several quarterbacks that has happened with Charlton in their career. Billy Kilmer with the Washington Redskins early on in Super Bowl lore. You know, Earl Morrall, quarterback, has done it twice, Charlton, throughout his NFL career. But a lot of quarterbacks, and you think about Johnny Unitas, Charlton.
Yeah.
Johnny Unitas was cut out of the NFL. He was playing semi-pro football.
Yeah.
When he came back into the NFL, at that time, to become the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not an easy road. Even Joe Theismann, you know, came from Canada to cast his team to the Super Bowl when he was on a hot streak. Kerry Collins, I remember him, out of Carolina. He was the #1 draft pick of Carolina. Eventually got to the Super Bowl with the Giants as a quarterback. Jake Delhomme with the Carolina Panthers was a cast off. But, you know, everybody's put all this money and promise on Jimmy Garoppolo. And like I said, how many people can name quarterbacks that have been successful after backing up Tom Brady? And Charlton, I'll tell you the most successful one was Drew Bledsoe. Yeah. With the brief career he had with the Dallas Cowboys, and he was replaced by Tony Romo eventually. Yeah. But he never got the Cowboys anywhere along in the playoffs. Yeah. The second most successful one, Charlton, was Brian Hoyer, which had some success with the Texans. But no quarterback has had really any success that's been a backup to Tom Brady. I give you one more, Matt Castle. But, you know, he was a guy that looked up with a contract with the Kansas City Chiefs, but he had Randy Moss to throw to. Yeah. And went after that. But, you know, you look at 3 out of 12 quarterbacks, Charlton. That's not a high percentage rate.
Well, I think
out of 12 quarterbacks.
Yeah, and then you also look at Kurt Warner before he got signed with the Rams. I think he was actually playing, I think, in the Arena League football. Yeah. And so that's, in Iowa. So when you have so many people putting their stock in a quarterback that got fired or could not keep his job from an NFL team now, as if he's going to make your team great, out here in San Francisco, they're talking about Jay Cutler of all people trying to replace Colin Kaepernick. And in their both of their careers, just look at the playoff wins they both have, and tell me who you should be replacing. Your thoughts on that one, Big C?
Well, you know, Colin Kaepernick has had way more success as a pro than Jay Cutler in the briefness of his career. Jay Cutler's always been the second coming of Jeff George, Charlton, in the NFL. Big arm, you know, prototypical looking guy. I guess if you look clumsy all the time. So, and you talk about a lackluster look. You know, that would tell you that John Lynch is no better than Trent Baalke. Yeah. If he signs Jay Cutler, it's just a recycling of what the organization has been for the last 2 years. Yeah. So it's going to go back into this joke status. And they say Mike Shanahan has been this quarterback guru, Charlton. Yeah. Okay. Matt Ryan was already an all-pro quarterback when he got to Atlanta, okay? Yeah. He didn't do anything to improve Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan was already an all-pro quarterback and had a 5,000-yard passing season and been to an NFC championship game before, Charlton. Yeah. So you have to tell me how he upgraded Matt Ryan. Okay, that's what you have to understand. No one talks about Rich McKay, you know, the GM in Atlanta. Yeah. You know, no one talks about, the vice president, Tom Dimitroff, the vice president in Atlanta, the guys who put together the roster with the players, the guys who brought in Dan Quinn. Okay, those are the keys. And Dan Quinn has been to 2 Super Bowls. Yeah. So he knew what it was like to win. Tommy Dimitroff had already been to an NFC championship game. Yeah. So you had a really winning formula there. York is the only one that's left over, but he doesn't understand football. He just happened to be a lucky nephew to inherit the organization. Well, yeah, so,
that's true.
So when you look at, you know, going into a depleted situation now, you take what Quinn got in Atlanta. Yeah. He inherited a house that was full, okay?
Yeah, Matt Ryan.
Yeah, it was full. Look at the defense. The defense was solid, and the defense was built. Yeah. And so it wasn't like he was going into a situation where he had the number 2 draft pick overall. Yeah. Okay? He had a bad hand, pretty much. Well, so now you look at this situation where, you know, you got the new coach going into a situation where a team that's been decimated over the last 3 years. Yeah. And you're seeing all of a sudden now he's a genius. You will really find out whether he can coach or not in 2 years, Charles. Yeah. Really right off the bat, starting with quarterback.
Yeah, off the bat. And talking about Lynch as an analyst and how he played football, That has nothing to do with him looking at personnel. And they're saying out here in the Bay Area that they're making the decision based on the fact that Lynch called a lot of NFL games, and nothing wrong with that, and that he was able to evaluate talent. Well, if that's the case, they may as well take Troy Aikman and make him a GM. They may as well take anyone who's ever called a game and make them a GM, Big C. I know it worked for the great John Madden back in the day, but that's a different thing, Big C. He went into coaching and also the press box after he was a coach, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, you got to realize, Jonathan, John Madden was a coach first, okay?
Yeah.
He was a coach before he was in the broadcast group.
Yeah.
If you want to take a guy, from the broadcast group and make him a head coach, you don't have to look any further than the former Oakland Raider linebacker and Washington Redskin linebacker Matt Millen, Charles.
Oh, yeah.
When he was with the Detroit Lions, we saw how far that organization did not go.
Yeah, he drove them into the ground.
No, did not go.
Yeah.
He went in reverse.
Yeah.
A guy, yes, he called a lot of games, but because you call a lot of games, Charles, does not mean you know how to evaluate talent. And Matt Millen was the proof of that.
Yeah.
He's the poster boy of why not to take an analyst and put you out as your GM.
Well, hold on, Big C. We've been talking to Jerry Jones down in Dallas, Big C. He's talking about bringing us in so that we can coach. They haven't won a playoff game in years. We can't do any worse, Big C. Your thoughts on that, Big C?
I think you and I
yeah.
we can evaluate talent. The problem with the guys nowadays is that they're fans, and what they've been doing is evaluating players against themselves. And I'm not saying that John Lynch wasn't a good player, Charlie.
Yeah.
But you got to look at the great players that were around him in Tampa Bay, okay?
Yeah.
Well, when he was in Tampa Bay, he had a free run in making tackles.
Oh, yeah.
He had a great secondary. He had a super core linebackers and a defensive line that could put pressure on anybody.
Yeah.
So as a strong safety, Jonathan, it was easy pickings for him. And when you look at, if you want to think about a strong safety who had a great career, what was wrong with Rod Woodson?
Yeah, Woodson. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Who works for ESPN.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a guy who's seen a lot of games, won a lot of Super Bowls. Well, Lynch was on one of the Super Bowl teams.
Yeah.
But Woodson was on a lot of them. And if you're talking about a guy who has done a lot of games, you take the whole ESPN cast. I didn't see them talk about Woodson. I didn't see them talk about Teddy Bruschi.
No.
Mark Flores. These guys who played, if you put the Super Bowl rings all together, look like a jewelry shop.
Well, and speaking of that, Big C, speaking of jewelry shop, this segment is sponsored by the California Lottery. Man, I'm kind of upset, Big C. Someone in Indiana, of all places, Indiana won the Powerball, I think $410 million, and they can't find Robert Ursay, Big C. Any thoughts on that, Big C? Yeah.
Powerball winner, Jonathan. 39th. And so when you think about it, Indiana, that's the home of David Letterman.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Larry Bird.
Yeah. Maybe Larry Bird won a lot of. Come on, Larry Bird, give up some of that money, Larry Bird.
I made the trade.
Yeah. That's funny. They were saying that Larry Bird was getting ready to get rid of Paul George, and then the Powerball numbers were announced, and nobody can hear from Larry Bird, Big C. He still hasn't called in to work, Big C. Your thoughts? No, that's funny, Big Z. But, going back into the world of the NFL and just your thoughts again, there's so many great players. You just gave a history lesson, and some of the coaches and players that have gone back and forth from Millen to John Madden and all these great players that actually had success. Millen didn't have success, but John Madden did. But even the great Al Davis, it was a time when he was a coach in the National Football League. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, he was a coach on the team. He's done it all, Jonathan. But the difficulty of going, you can look at the field and go to the broadcast booth.
Yeah.
But it doesn't translate vice versa, Jonathan.
Yeah.
As a player, you've seen a lot and understood a lot from playing dynamics and watching film and being in coaching sessions.
Yeah.
But from just watching film, I mean, think about how many GMs are walking around from just watching film. Every high school coach in the world
could
be a GM. If that's the truth, every college coach
Yeah.
Coaching and wasting your time.
Yeah.
Being out there blowing on the whistle and all that stuff. But, to take, Lynch, like I said, and you give him 6 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time. He's playing in a 6-year pat hand.
And they never,
What you're saying, Charles, is 4 to 5 years, and you can still be losing. But you got to give him a chance. I mean, they're going to get the same story as Donald Trump. You got to give him a chance.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about that too, Big C. And when they've been going through coaches, kind of like car washers, Big C, they get one every week, it seems. But to give someone 6 years who has no history of doing that job for an organization that has 5 Super Bowl championships, he's not even an alumni of it. I always thought maybe they should open up the checkbook for Steve Young because he's won at the USFL level. He also won, in Tampa, he did as well as he could at Tampa, but he did get San Francisco their last Super Bowl championship, Big C, and he's on TV too. He's been able to analyze players and analyze personnel. Why not open up the checkbook for Steve Young or a guy like Ronnie Lott? They know what it's like to win, Big C.
Well, Charles, the thing about reaching back to Steve Mariucci, a guy who was in the organization, a guy who runs with the organization, okay?
Yeah.
The guy who had success with multiple quarterbacks in the organization. So when we talk about people who can produce, he's one of them that could have done that.
Yeah.
But people give certain guys a chance. And I understand you wanting to start a new and, lead the organization of a lot of things that you've had in the past, just like you got rid of all the good players that you had.
Yeah.
I guess you don't want to bring back any of the good coaches that you once had and help them lead the organization. I kind of look at it like, you look at Kansas State in college basketball.
Yeah.
Not college basketball, college football. So they brought back Bill Snyder. They went out and they tried all these young guys and the organization fell apart. So they reached out to the 75-year-old Bill Snyder.
Yeah.
Called him back in. He brought the organization back in line, made them a winner, and back in bowl games every year.
Are you trying to say experience matters, Big C? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm trying to say knowledge matters, Charlie.
Yeah.
Knowledge matters. And you get a lot of knowledge from experience, Charlie. There's something about maturity. And we heard that earlier. You got to have a grown-up in the White House.
Yeah.
You got to have a grown-up in the GM room, Charlie, because right now, this isn't going to be a toy for Lynch. He gets a chance to go out and play with the building blocks for a couple years.
Yeah.
No one's going to take him seriously. Because the success or non-success that the Niners have on the field, Charlie, will not be, related to the GM's office.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to sit there and say, these guys work well together.
Yeah.
The number one thing he has to learn also, as a GM, Charlie, is called salary cap.
Yeah.
Okay? How to deal with those finances, how to make contracts work.
Yeah.
If you haven't had any experience in how to make contracts work, it's going to be like NBA teams right now, Charles.
Yeah.
You got NBA teams with players with 10 contracts, $80 to $100 million.
Wow.
Teams can't even trade. You can't even really trade people like, do you want us to take that money?
Yeah.
He only has 8 points a game for you, but you want us to take $100 million over the next 5 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, Big C, that's
what's going to happen in the NFL.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. I want to say this segment is sponsored by United Labor, guaranteed life insurance up to $100,000 with no medical questions. So even guys like Rush Limbaugh can get covered. We work with all of the unions in the country under the AFL-CIO, and we are endorsed by the American Heart Association and the American Cancer Society. Tweet out to Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio network, the #1 network in the United States of America, Big C. And also, when you look across the aisle at some of the other teams in the NFL, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they're trying to make Le'Veon Bell. They must sign that guy. He's the guy they got to keep. Who knows how much longer Big Ben's going to play? I think they can get another 2 years out of Big Ben. He's always banged up, so in a bad way, it's kind of been a good thing that he hasn't had to play a couple of games the last couple of seasons. But Le'Veon Bell, I see you putting a lot of stock in him. Other players around the league too, Big C. Your thoughts? Anyone as big as Le'Veon Bell in the running back spot, Big C?
Well, he's the one running back you have beside out there. I mean, when you look around the league, the Vikings are talking about not bringing back Adrian Peterson. It would be nice to see him go to a true contender. I mean, the Vikings were on the verge when they lost Teddy Bridgewater last year. I don't think that, Sam Bradford is the guy to stay healthy and strong enough throughout a season to get them to that point, Joe.
Yeah.
But if the Vikings, if they let go of Adrian Peterson, there's plenty of contenders out there, and I hope that he chooses wisely.
Yeah.
He can decide to go to another team. playoff. And another quarterback that I'm very perplexed about is Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins right now is poised to become the highest paid quarterback in the league. Now, somebody got to tell me why the hell they're going to do that.
Why?
Okay. Why would Kirk Cousins become the highest paid quarterback in the NFL? Now, this is a team that was 500 last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're going to take a 500 quarterback. Oh, well, he had a great individual season. Okay, the last time I checked in football, there were 63 players out there.
Yeah.
And 11 on each side of the ball every time the ball was snapped. And you're going to say he had a great individual season. So, I mean, if he was playing tennis, yeah. But he was also playing tennis.
Well, when they were saying they wanted to make Cousins the highest paid quarterback, I said DeMarcus Cousins was going to play the NFL. He's kind of too big to be in the pocket. But when I realized it was Kirk Cousins, I realized one thing, Big C, and one thing only. Somebody has broken in on the moonshine. It's either Larry Bird or maybe there's some of the owners that are wanting to give these guys that much money because we. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah.
He's talking about giving Kirk Cousins $25-26 million.
Yeah.
I heard the word crazy.
Yeah.
But it's been supplanted by the word stupid.
Well, they talk about drug testing players. They need to start drug testing some of these owners. Big C. How many owners would get fined by the league if Goodell had to drug test some of these owners? Big C, your thoughts?
I can't believe it. And they're going to pay him at least $25 million.
Yeah.
Next season. Somebody got to make me understand the rationale of that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at the quarterbacks that were in the playoffs last year, Tom.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's just go through that list. The final two were Brady and Ryan, okay?
Yeah.
The final four were Brady, Ryan, Rodgers, and who's the other kid?
Is it Garoppolo and
No, they played against New England in the AFC Championship.
Oh, the guy out of I know you're talking out of Pittsburgh. I forgot his name. Well, that was big.
That was Roethlisberger.
Yeah, Roethlisberger. Okay, Roethlisberger.
Now, tell me which one of those quarterbacks made $26 million. I mean, Ryan was the highest paid.
Yeah.
But which one of them made $26 million? We're talking about the last four quarterbacks playing.
That's crazy.
Now, a couple other games. We got Eli Manning out there playing.
Yeah.
Okay? We got Russell Wilson out there playing.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to look around here, and we're not going to talk about Houston because that was a joke.
Yeah.
But I'm still trying to find out which one of the quarterbacks in the playoffs last year, that Prescott wasn't even close.
Yeah.
Which one of them made $26 million last year?
Well, see.
I'm perplexed.
See, Big C.
You're talking about paying Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
$26 million.
Yeah.
And he had an 18 team. I mean, all the fans out there.
Yeah.
Go to ESPN or Google or whatever. Find out how many NFL teams were 500. Because, I mean, even the Raiders and the Chiefs were above 500.
Yeah.
Alex Smith.
Yeah. And they want to get rid of Alex Smith. I mean, if you look, see, the only thing I have a problem with, Big C, you always want to play the guys that win playoff games and Super Bowls. How about throw some money out there for the guys that don't win? You ever think about that, Big C, having a heart? Oh, okay. I'm not the brightest of people, Charles. Yeah.
I'd like for our fan base to go out there and look, Google it, whatever.
Yeah.
Find out how many quarterbacks there were 500 set to make $25 million next year or more. That's what the NFL is going to do. They want you to pay $25 million to a quarterback who can't even win at home. You're not even going to have all the players that were around him last year. Mark Jackson's going to be gone.
Yeah.
So that's one receiver down. Garcon may be gone.
Yeah.
So if you lose your top two receivers and they pay you $25 million, that means I need to see at least 6,000 yards passing over the season.
Yeah.
I need to see you play better than Drew Brees on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I need from you. I need to see you be at least 14-2 better than Zach Prescott, who's plays in your own division. And Eli Manning.
Yeah.
Got down the street. Who was he? 12-4?
Yeah.
Started last year?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's two quarterbacks in your own division. They were 14-2 and 12-4 You were 8-8, and you're set to make more money than both of them combined.
That doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and that's why we say they should start drug testing some of these owners and GMs, because when the guys that, could you imagine what guys like Troy Aikman and Terry Bradshaw and Warren Moon and Randall Cunningham and all these great players from the back, Brett Favre, even John Elway, they must be thinking, what in the world is wrong with these days? Yeah.
Let's look at Roger Staubach. Let's look at Fred Parkinson. Let's look at some quarterbacks who went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Who took their teams to championships, Charlton. And now we got these Mickey Mouse run quarterbacks. But like I said, you got two quarterbacks in your division that were in the playoffs, Charlton. And they combined record between these two quarterbacks. 26 and 6. Okay?
Yeah.
26 and 6.
Yeah.
You were 8-8. And you're going to make more money than both of them combined.
Yeah. That's funny, Big C. That is absolutely crazy. I want to say this segment is sponsored by Big C Sports, by Ben and Mark. If you're a professional athlete, a collegiate athlete, or even a high school sports team, or your mom and pop soccer leagues, we can get you covered in all 50 states for athletic and event insurance. Tweet out to Big C Sports, and also follow Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio network every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, worldwide on the iHeartRadio network. Big C, I want to just shift gears a little bit and just bring up a little bit of irony. Now, I'll give credit to the person, Christine Brennan. There was an article on POTUS how he was playing golf with the great, Rory McIlroy, and we know the Masters has come up, a tradition like none other. And POTUS said he only played like a round with golf, but McIlroy said he shot an 80. And so that meant he shot the whole golf course, Big C. And this is the same POTUS that we love. Because he criticized President Obama by saying he plays golf too much, he should be working. Well, Trump has played more golf in his first month in office than Obama played all last year, Big C. Do you have any thoughts about that, Big C? Is it making any sense, Big C?
Well, you have to work to be president, okay?
Yeah.
and really, he's not the president, from a lot of actions.
Yeah.
So he's out there on leisure time while banning
yeah. Yeah.
He's only a mouthpiece, Charlton.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at all of his actions. You look at all of what he promised the American public.
Yeah.
They want what he was going to do.
Yeah.
He was going to replace.
He said he's going to replace.
Repeal and replace Obamacare for what, 30 days?
Yeah.
And nothing. I mean, he was going to build this wall.
Yeah.
There's no construction that started.
Yeah.
The only thing that he has done is tried to, keep immigrants out of this country.
Well, let me.
If I stop the flow of immigrants, you guys can go down to McDonald's.
Yeah. Well, think about this. Now, what you said would happen is happening, because now all these good old boys that wanted to get rid of the Obamacare, they want to keep the Affordable Care Act now that they realize they don't have insurance for their surgeries, Big C, and they don't have insurance when they have some chest pain or when something's happening and they don't feel good in their back or their stomach or their headache won't go away. Now they go down to the hospital and they ask, let me see your insurance. They say, well, I don't have any. I'm waiting on Trump's insurance plan. They say, well, that don't matter. You got to go sit back in the back of the line. Now they're realizing people are holding town hall meetings so they can keep Obamacare, Big C. I think people are starting to wake up now. Don't leave your kids unemployed or uninsured if you have a choice, Big C. Your thoughts on that, Big C?
Well, you don't leave the kids, you don't leave the parents, you don't leave the grandparents uninsured, Charlton.
Yeah.
But that was a blessing to America to have the Affordable Care Act. I don't care whether you call it Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act.
No, it's Obamacare, Big C. It's Obamacare. Okay.
It was a blessing to America.
Yeah.
If you put a ticker up on the amount of lives that they're saved,
yeah.
What's the value of an American life? I know a lot of people don't care.
Yeah.
Because they have money.
Yeah.
But those who do that, look at some of those poor states out there, and I'm going to throw West Virginia out there.
Oh, yeah.
Cold states, where a lot of miners live with. They live from paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
But the Affordable Care Act allows them to have health care. And we know that the diminishing health conditions in that state, Charlton,
yeah.
because of the inhaling of a lot of the toxins
yeah.
from works that those people do, Charlton, working in the mines.
Yeah.
They had insurance that they couldn't be turned down from, Charlton. So those people had a chance at a better life. You may not have made more money, but you had a better chance at a quality of life. And now the people are seeing this quality of life.
Yeah. It matters a lot.
You know, you think about having college students that are on their parents' health insurance.
Yeah.
You know, that are trying to get their doctorates and their masters that take more than 4 years.
Yeah.
But they're allowed to stay on their parents' health insurance. These weren't answered by those people that have the money. But those children that were trying to make it better for the next generation.
Yeah.
Now you want to take that away. Okay, that's like taking a helmet away from a football player's head. Go out there and play just as damn hard.
Yeah, well, some guys have done that in the past. It's called street football. Let me ask you one more thing on Trump before we close out with the NBA. And it's about Rory McIlroy. This still reminds me of Tiger Woods when he lost about $100 million in endorsements because of the extramarital information that was out there. Nobody ever saw that on videotape like a lot of other people have. But the sponsorship went away. And now we have Rory McIlroy, one of the top golfers in the country, actually in the world. And he's out there with Trump, who's been accused of sexual assault over 12 times and has it on tape, Big C. And all this stuff going on with what gender can use the bathroom or not. And all the the xenophobia and the anti-Muslim, all this religious garbage, and he's walking around with POTUS. And is that going to hurt his sponsorship at all, or will he be treated different because he's white, Big C?
Well, we're talking about, I'm looking at it from this perspective. What does Trump constantly preach? American ball, all this stuff?
Yeah.
Why won't an American golfer play golf with him? Tell me that.
Yeah.
So he has to go get a foreigner. But he's not talking about checking his visa.
Yeah.
He has to get a foreigner to go out and play golf with him because the American golfers, Justin Speed, Dustin Johnson, these guys don't want to go out and play with him. They
Yeah.
want to be seen with him, Johnson.
Yeah.
So when we talk about that, now you got to go out and get a foreigner to say, if you don't let me play golf with you, I keep the green card.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the golf green card. I'm talking about the green card to get in and out of the country.
So let me ask you one more question too. That's a good point. So the women that occupy the golf course, you know, there's about 98% Caucasian audience, and let's just say about 50% of those are Caucasian women. Is there going to be any pushback? Let's say they're more educated women too, because golf's expensive. Are there going to be any pushback on these women who stand around the golf links when Donald Trump's out there saying, "Don't grab my crotch or my daughter's crotch, Big C"? And I'm not being funny about that. We all heard what happened on tape. So are people okay to say it's okay because he's a rich white guy, or will there be some pushback to say to their daughters, "This garbage is not acceptable"? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, we're talking about, I would love to see the American pushback on a lot of things that Donald Trump does, and I think over time it will escalate even more.
Yeah.
Because the rhetoric that you use during the campaign, people say, well, it was this campaign talk.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you just lied to the American public during the campaign, but you're still using the same rhetoric now.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You're still out there using the same rhetoric, so when they're lie before, they're a lie now.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to grow up and be honest. You got to be a grown man. You got to put on some big boy pants.
Yeah.
You can't always hide behind this fluffed up hair wrapped around your ears like a turban.
Well, Big, no, I used to have. I used to have that Jerry Curl back in the day. I put so much Jerry Curl on mine, it turned orange, Big C. They thought I was the black carrot top, so I understand what Donald's going through. But I just wanted to bring that up because I haven't heard anything from Gloria Steinem, and she was always trying to get on Tiger Woods when people came forward saying that they just had a relationship. Here's a guy that's accused of assault, and now you still have a few people that are willing to walk around the golf links with him. I wonder if any women are going to let their daughters go visit the White House on their own and get the grand tour, if you know what I mean. This final section, I want to say, is sponsored by One Life America Life Insurance. We're the leaders in the country when it comes to final expense. Tweet out to Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio network. Big C, basketball's back in town. I'm going to be out at Golden State. They're playing the Clippers. Denver's up at Sacramento, and Sacramento is out without DeMarcus Cousins. Houston's playing New Orleans. Houston's playing New Orleans. Detroit's playing Charlotte, and Portland's playing in Orlando. So your thoughts on, I think Marcus Cousins may be a little bit more relaxed because he's down there in Moonshine Country, Big C. Does that make any sense to you?
Well, you know, I think the thing with DeMarcus Cousins, Charlton, it's going to be hard for him to walk in and say, this is my team, I'm the star.
Yeah.
We already have an all-star Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
But, you know, in some way that might be a suitor for him, but hopefully that he can accept the role play in New Orleans and not be disruptive to that organization.
Yeah.
Because you have a great base with Davis. All you need is two more pieces down there. You can become a playoff contender. Cousins can be one, but you need that solid point guard down in New Orleans. So they thought they had that in Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
But he went in the same shortcut. But they really need a veteran, not a rookie point guard. And there's plenty of veterans. I mean, this is a place that maybe even Rondo could have surface.
Yeah.
Because he had that veteran experience, he should have been tossed in that trade with Cousins to put him in a place with Davis around and say, hey, I don't have to tolerate this from you. Because yes, you won before, but now this is my team.
Yeah.
And you think about when Rondo won, who were the leaders on that team in Boston that helped him calm down? There's a big man down there, jumping in Garnett.
Yeah.
He had Pierce. He had Ray Allen. He had some veteran players that he didn't have to take a dominating role. Just keep the ball to him.
Yeah.
And that's what you need with certain players. And that's what you need with Cousins and Davis. You need that point guard out there, Jonathan, to just keep the ball to them and let them play their game.
And that's going to be a good thing. One more thing, and as we close out Big C out here at Golden State Warriors going to be playing against the LA Clippers. And even if Paul's going to be playing at full strength, or even if he gets some playing time, it just seems like they're not in the same league with Golden State. Only complacency can beat this team. We saw it happen last year against Cleveland in the finals. Any chance of an upset with Golden State playing the Clippers out here in Oakland? Golden State's a 12-point favorite by your friends down there in Las Vegas, Big C. You and Charles Barkley. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, I think that they're tied to
the Clippers?
The Clippers, trying to let them get back in their rhythm. Paul's been out, Jonathan. It's hard to take time.
Yeah.
When you've been out, even though they're a veteran team, he has to get back into the flow with the regular players. Just like when we talk about Cousins in New Orleans, he has to walk in and find his role in that lineup.
Yeah.
We know Paul is the point guard. He knows how to distribute. But the Golden State Warriors, they got a lot of weapons now, and I think they may have 5 to 10 weapons out there.
Yeah.
So you never know who's going to shoot your lights out. And so Chris Paul is more of an offensive player than he is a defender, even though he's a tremendous defensive player.
Yeah.
He can't guard 5 guys, Joe. Okay?
Yeah.
He can't guard. And DeAndre Jordan is a miserable matchup on defense for whoever he's playing. He's the best hope to play against Green.
Yeah.
But who plays Garnett?
Yeah.
No one, Griffith's not a good enough player to play Garnett defensively.
No.
He's not a good enough to points. Paul, you got to pick his points. Like take Thompson or Curry.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm going to get banged for 30 points.
Well, Big C, as we close, it's so ironic that since Chris Paul has been making those commercials, those insurance commercials for some company, they always have to come to his house because something fell down or something got broken. And isn't it ironic that he's always hurt, Big C? Just keep that in mind the next time you endorse a product. I want to say every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time worldwide. Follow Charles and Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio network, the #1 network in the United States, and also Big C Sports, the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. We always want to tell you, there's never any room for domestic violence. If you ever see anyone in trouble or someone being grabbed by the crotch, just call 911 so a woman doesn't have to deal with that garbage all on her own. And as we always tell you, every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, worldwide, follow Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio network. And as we always tell you, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.